Hello and welcome. Hope you are having a good day. So today you have come to the session of the two-wheeler technology. So here we read about the systems and equipments that are used in the two-wheeler system. So today's topic is electronic control system, that is your FI system, the brains of today automobile. So why do I call the brains of today automobile as your electronic control system? I will explain in a few slides. So I am Rajat Mishra, your host for today. Welcome to this session. So first let me make you through to the learning content of the program. So the first we will read about the ECU and its function. So what is an ECU and what are its function, we will read about in the first few slides. Second, we will know about the need of ECU system. Why ECU is accurately needed? What is the need of ECU in a motorcycle? Third, we will know about the FI system and its advantage. So what is FI system and its advantage? Why it is in the vehicle? So we will read about that. Fourth, we will learn about an electrical circuit, that is your ignition circuit of motorcycle. So how does the ignition occur in a motorcycle? We will read it. Okay. So let's move on to the topic, that is the electronic control unit. So the heart of combustion engine will always be metal, but its brain has long been made of sensors and actuators. So why do I say that? Because your engine is made of your either aluminium or iron or steel or any other alloy, but the brains that control your engine is the sensors and actuators, that is your electronic control unit. So what is the electronic control unit? A ECU, also commonly called an engine control module, is a type of electronic control unit that controls a series of actuators on an internal combustion engine to ensure optimal engine performance. It does this by reading values from a multitude of sensors within the engine bay, interpreting the data using multidimensional performance map called lookup tables, and adjusting the engine actuators. Before ECUs, air fuel mixture, ignition timing and idle speed were mechanically set and dynamically controlled by mechanical and pneumatic means. So how do electronic control units work? So what is the process by which the electronic control unit works? So first of all comes the sensor. As our body has 5 sensors, what are they? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. When someone pinches our skin senses the information and passes it to the brain, and the brain tells us to move our hand. Similarly, the sensor senses the physical data of the ecosystem, and what it does, it sends the signal to the ECU. The second are the circuit of transfer. So that are the electrical circuit, like our veins takes the message to the brain. Similarly, the electrical circuits takes the message from the sensors to the ECU. The third is the evaluation in the lookup tables. So what are these lookup tables? See, our CPU, which controls our computer system, that is the central processing unit, comes with a chip which controls the whole system. So that chip is embedded with coding and programs. Similarly, your ECU comes with a chip which is embedded with coding and programs. So these are the lookup tables, are the data that are stored in your chip. So the data that the ECU gets from the sensor, it compares the data with the lookup tables. The fourth thing that happens is taking decision according to situation. So after comparing the data according to the situation the vehicle is riding in, the ECU takes the decision and passes the message to the working unit. Now what are the working unit? What are the hands of the ECU? They are called the actuator, which actually performs the work. So actuator are those devices that actually perform the real work. They take the work message from the ECU and perform the work. So this is the control unit work. See, this is the process by which the control unit work. So now this diagram, everybody of you know that it is a valve timing diagram, but it is a theoretical valve timing diagram. So, here we can see your inlet valve open is at TDC and close at TDC, and exhaust valve open at BDC and close at TDC. So, TDC is top dead center and BDC is bottom dead center. So, where does the ignition occur here, or when spark occurs? So, here your spark is occurring at TDC. Okay. You can see there is IS written here, that means ignition start. So, the spark is occurring at TDC. So, now in few slides we are going to prove it wrong. So, according to the theoretical valve timing diagram, the spark occurs at TDC. Okay. So, theory used to make ECU. Now, we will see about some of the theories that are made to used to make ECU. So, first is the fuel theory. Air and fuel gets burnt to give the byproduct CO2 and H2O. Many harmful gases like CO, NO are also produced. 14.7:1 is the optimum ratio of air to fuel for better fuel economy. So, this ratio 14.7:1, this is the ratio in which the air and fuel combines to give the less pollutant and fuel and more fuel economy. So, this ratio is called the stoichiometric ratio, where 14.7 part of air combines with 1 part of fuel to give the perfect combustion. If air value decreases, the mixture becomes rich, that is, air is less than 14.7. And if air value increases, the mixture becomes lean, that is, air is greater than 14.7. So, let us see, our fuel is CH4, air is O2 plus some amount of N2, which gets into the combustion chamber to give the byproduct CO2, H2O and N2. Okay. So, that was our fuel theory, that 14.7:1 is the optimum ratio of air into fuel. Now, the spark theory. The position of connecting rod when piston is at power stroke. So, that is a questionable thing. So, what is the position of the connecting rod when is it at the power stroke? So, at power stroke the piston is at TDC. Okay. So, we all assume that at power stroke piston is at TDC. So, our connecting rod will be straight, isn't it? So, when the piston is at TDC, the connecting rod is straight, then what will happen? The whole of the force that is acting on the piston will go to the connecting rod, and there is a chance that the connecting rod can break. So, for that problem there is a solution. What is the solution? The solution is the piston is kept, the connecting rod is at either 5 degree before TDC or 5 degree after TDC, so that the maximum thrust can be attained and the connecting rod will not receive any load. So, 5 degree before TDC is not the questionable thing, because it can move the engine in a reverse direction, but 5 degree after TDC is the best solution to this problem, because at 5 degree after TDC the force can also produce a thrust which can move the piston up and down. So, in a 4-stroke engine, what is happening? The crankshaft taking 1 revolution for 2 stroke. So, 2 revolution for 4 stroke. So, in 1 revolution is 360 degree, 2 revolution are 720 degree. Okay. So, what we got to know, that the optimum point of the power coming to the piston or your combustion is 5 degree after TDC. Okay. Now, only we have seen that it is wrong that at TDC the spark occurs. It occurs 5 degree after TDC. Okay. Let us see beyond. So, finding the degree of rotation in 1 millisecond. Let us assume the RPM of vehicle in 3000 RPM. So, at 3000 RPM revolution per minute of your crankshaft, how much degree the crankshaft rotate in 1 millisecond? So, we are going to find out at 3000 RPM how much the crankshaft rotate in 1 millisecond. So, 3000 revolution in 1 minute, which can be equated to 18,000 degree in 1 second. So, if we convert it to millisecond, it is coming to 18 degree. So, at 1 millisecond